Did you see that when DB came back and played for us, that they got mad that our fan base was booing her?
I don't believe in booing former players unless they left on like some you type shit.
Sophie Cunningham just dropped some juicy details on her podcast that nobody saw coming. The Indiana Fever guard, who played alongside DeWanna Bonner in both Phoenix and Indiana, broke her silence about why Bonner really quit on Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever mid-season. And let me tell you, what she said about Bonner's unprofessional exit is going to make your jaw drop. Cunningham didn't hold back when she exposed how Bonner handled her departure, calling out her behavior openly. The tea she spilled about what really went down behind the scenes changes everything we thought we knew about this drama. Drop a good riddance down in the comments below if you agree with Sophie about Bonner's distasteful exit. Let's go.
I like DB because like DB was one of my vets when I was in Phoenix, and then we gathered here into Indiana, and like it was kind of a surprise that she was signed to Indiana anyway, and so we'll take her in a heartbeat. Like she's a Hall of Famer, she's a hell of a basketball player, can score from anywhere on the court.
When DeWanna Bonner signed with the Indiana Fever, everyone thought they were witnessing the perfect addition to the team. This wasn't just any veteran pickup. Bonner came with serious credentials and the kind of experience that championship teams are built around. The signing caught everyone by surprise, but in the best possible way. Fever fans finally had reason to believe their young superstar would have the veteran leadership she desperately needed.
I'm sure there were plenty of teams going for your services, DeWanna, so why was this the right opportunity for you?
I just feel like it was the location for one. My kids are literally right up the road, and I've spent a lot of time away from them, so that and the core that they have here now is just kind of want to fit in, and be another piece of the puzzle, and hopefully bring the energy dynamic and take us to a different level in the playoffs.
The press conferences told the whole story, or so we thought. Bonner stood at that podium saying all the right things about being excited to play with Clark and contribute to the team's success. She painted herself as the missing piece, ready to mentor the sophomore sensation while providing crucial scoring punch. Sophie Cunningham, who knew Bonner from Phoenix, even hyped her up as a Hall of Famer and a hell of a basketball player, can score from anywhere on the court. Everything looked picture perfect on paper. Caitlin Clark herself bought into the hype, noting that Bonner had the strongest voice in the locker room. You could see the excitement in Clark's eyes during those early team interactions. The Fever organization was thrilled. Fans were pumped. This veteran addition was supposed to elevate everything about their championship aspirations.
You know, DB is somebody that, is a Hall of Famer, like a legend, not only a good basketball player, a great person, a great leader. The strongest voice in our locker room is hers.
Then the game started. Bonner's actual performance told a completely different story than those glowing press conferences. Over 9 games, she managed just 7.1 points per game with shooting numbers that made everyone wonder if they were watching the same player they'd signed. Her 3.8 rebounds and 1.6 assists per game weren't just underwhelming. They were downright disappointing for someone with her reputation. But the numbers only told part of the story. What really stood out was how disinterested Bonner looked on the court. She moved like someone who didn't want to be there. Fans started scratching their heads. Teammates began exchanging glances. The coaching staff found themselves in an impossible position.
Bonner, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split ya. See ya, wouldn't want to be.
I don't want to come off the bench is not a personal issue. I don't like my role.
The situation reached a breaking point when coach Stephanie White made the difficult decision to bench Bonner. Think about that for a second. Benching a supposed veteran leader just weeks into the season. The awkwardness in the locker room became impossible to ignore. Fans who had bought into the hype felt confused and betrayed. Players who expected leadership got silence instead. This benching should have been a wake-up call, a moment for Bonner to step up and prove her worth. Instead, it marked the beginning of something much worse than poor shooting percentages or lackluster defense. The woman who promised to be Clark's veteran guide was about to reveal her true character in ways that would shock everyone who believed in her public persona.
Her minutes had significantly dropped from last year. Well, in turn, if her minutes drop, a lot of her production numbers that she can see and the rest of the league can see also dropped with it. Look, she's just like Natasha Howard. She looks old on the court. All right, not trying to be this is not ageism. She looks like an older athlete. All right, she looks slower on the court, and the team has been lacking energy. It's been a serious problem. Seriously, long overdue. Let her go to the place where she feels she would be the best.
Being benched was embarrassing enough, but what happened next turned DeWanna Bonner from a disappointing player into a complete mystery. One day, she was sitting on the bench barely playing, and the next day, she was just gone. No explanation, no goodbye. The Indiana Fever started listing her absences as personal reasons, which is basically sports speak for we have no idea what's going on either.
He came over here. She signed a max contract. She knew Phoenix didn't have the bread. She got 80 here and went and got the rest over there. I think it's trash.
I wouldn't do anything differently. You took 80 grand from the Indiana Fever. You could have just signed. Like, that's one of the things, like, I don't understand why you take these interviews. I don't understand why someone would take an interview and say that, when the reality is that all you did was took a whole bunch of money from a team to not show up.
You refuse to show up.
The timeline of Bonner's disappearing act reads like a bad soap opera. Games came and went with fans scanning the bench, wondering where she was. The team kept giving those vague updates about personal reasons, but nobody was buying it. You could see the confusion in Coach Stephanie White's face during press conferences when reporters asked about Bonner's status. Even she didn't seem to have real answers.
You refuse to show up to work while receiving money, while taking payment. You refuse to show up and do the job. And let's be clear, you wasn't even good while you was here. You was shooting threes hitting the side of the backboard.
But this is definitely going to be a part of her history, man. Because the new wave is taking over. These new fans are watching. So at the end of the day, yeah, it's going to be a part of her history, unfortunately, man.
This whole situation put the Fever in an impossible position. The worst part was watching teammates try to answer questions they couldn't answer. Reporters kept asking about Bonner's timeline for return, and players like Caitlin Clark had to give those awkward diplomatic responses that fooled nobody. You could tell they were frustrated but trying to stay professional. Clark had been counting on veteran leadership, and instead, she got radio silence.
This is DeWanna Bonner. I wouldn't do anything differently. I think my journey is my journey. I'm going to accept that. It carried me to where I am now in Phoenix, and it happened that way for a reason. It didn't happen that way for a reason. You forced yourself out of Indiana, DeWanna.
Then the pieces started falling into place. Rumors began floating that Bonner wasn't coming back at all. The personal reasons excuse was wearing thin, especially when weeks turned into a month. Players started talking differently in interviews, using past tense when discussing her contributions. The writing was on the wall. The moment everyone realized Bonner had essentially quit came when news broke that she wanted to sign with the Phoenix Mercury, not returning to Phoenix after the season, joining them immediately, mid-season, while still technically under contract with Indiana. The audacity was breathtaking. Her personal reasons weren't family issues or health problems. She was just unhappy and wanted out.
I just don't understand this. I don't understand why DeWanna Bonner is taking these interviews at this point in time. Because I'm like, look, you're in Phoenix. You've got what you wanted. You've got what everyone expected you wanted all along. Everything's gone your way. Indiana haters are going to love you because you screwed over the Fever. They're going to love you because you screwed over the Fever. Phoenix Mercury fans are going to love you. Rival fans are going to love you because you basically screwed over the Fever. Fever fans are going to hate you because you screwed over the Fever.
This abandonment hit the locker room harder than any losing streak could. Caitlin Clark had publicly praised Bonner's leadership and voice in the locker room, only to discover that voice belonged to someone who would ghost her teammates without warning. The rookie who needed veteran guidance got a masterclass in unprofessionalism instead. Bonner's move to Phoenix made everything crystal clear. Those mysterious absences and personal reasons were really just code for, I don't want to be here anymore. She left her teammates scrambling to fill the void while she pursued greener pastures. And what Sophie Cunningham revealed about this whole mess would expose just how selfish Bonner's exit really was. Sophie Cunningham finally broke her silence, and what she revealed on her podcast, Show Me Something, changed everything we thought we knew about DeWanna Bonner's exit from Indiana. Cunningham occupied a unique position in this whole mess. She had played alongside Bonner in Phoenix, then reunited with her in Indiana, and witnessed the entire drama unfold from the inside. When someone with that kind of access decides to speak up, You know the story's about to get real.
But she got to Indiana and she just like really wasn't happy. And like, I want people to be happy. So that's why I'm kind of like neutral on this one, which a lot of people are surprised about. She's towards the end of her career. So like, she deserves her flowers. She deserves to be happy. But I also think that if you're going to leave, like, you're going to have to expect getting bit. Like,
was there explanation when it happened? No. Not even privately? Yeah, I mean, okay. That's tough. And, yeah, okay. Well, I did say what? Unless you leave on some fuck you type shit, and that's what that is, so.
Yeah.
The bombshell Cunningham dropped was simple but devastating. She confirmed what everyone suspected. Bonner really wasn't happy during her time with the Fever. But Cunningham's revelation went deeper than just admitting Bonner was miserable. She called out Bonner's unprofessional handling of her departure in ways that exposed the veteran's true character.
I'm still rooting for her. Like, I want her to end her career and be happy. But I also think that, like, it's okay to be professional about it. And, like, send a text to your teammates. Send a text and be like, hey, like, love you guys. Or you don't even have to say love you guys. Just like, hey, sorry this didn't work out. Good luck. Da-da-da-da. You know what I mean? Like, there's a way to handle that, I think.
Here's where Cunningham really went for the throat. She explained exactly how Bonner should have handled her exit, and her criticism was surgical. I'm still rooting for her. I want her to end her career and be happy, but I also think it's okay to be professional about it and send a text to your teammates, Cunningham said. Then she got even more specific, blasting Bonner's lack of professionalism. Think about what Cunningham was saying here. She wasn't asking for some grand gesture or emotional goodbye. She was talking about basic human decency, a simple text message. The fact that Bonner couldn't even manage that level of courtesy showed exactly who she really was.
I doubt DeWanna Bonner had any idea that how dirty she did her teammates on her way out of Indiana would ever come out to light. But Sophie Cunningham said, hold my beer. I got a podcast. I got this platform. I'm going to speak my mind. I'm not going to toe the company line. I'm not going to protect narratives. I'm not going to follow agendas. I'm going to tell you how it all went down. And DeWanna Bonner disappeared like a ghost.
Cunningham's comments hit different because she wasn't some random analyst throwing stones. She had been Bonner's teammate twice. She knew her personally, and she was willing to go on record saying Bonner handled the situation unprofessionally. That takes courage, especially in a league where players usually stay quiet about internal drama. The impact was immediate. Fans finally got the inside story they had been waiting for. Analysts could point to actual confirmation from someone who was there. Cunningham's willingness to speak out demonstrated the frustration even former teammates felt about Bonner's behavior. Her honesty validated what everyone suspected, but nobody could prove.
When we say DeWanna Bonner quit on her team, she literally quit on her team. She didn't say, hey, this isn't working out. She just didn't say anything at all. She didn't say, hey, wish you guys good luck. She just didn't say anything at all. While she was conspiring behind the scenes on how to get out of Indiana, how to take that money and run, she left her teammates in the dark. She left her teammates just like us, wondering what the heck is going on. And Sophie Cunningham is shedding some light onto that entire situation.
July 30th at Gainbridge Fieldhouse delivered the confrontation everyone had been waiting for. The moment DeWanna Bonner stepped onto the court wearing a Phoenix Mercury jersey, the Indianapolis crowd let her have it. The boos started during warm-ups and never stopped. Every time she touched the ball, the arena erupted with hostile jeers that made it crystal clear how fans felt about her betrayal.
Foul on Sophie Cunningham. That is her first team second. Coming in from Mercury Phoenix, number 14. DeWanna.
What made this whole scene even better was watching Caitlin Clark from the bench. Despite being sidelined with a groin injury, Clark was living her best life watching Bonner get roasted. Video footage caught Clark jumping up and celebrating every single defensive stop against her former teammate. You could see the pure joy on her face as the team she stayed loyal to locked down the player who abandoned them. Clark's enthusiasm from the sidelines spoke volumes about how the locker room really felt about Bonner's exit.
Bonner battling with Hall. Bonner Bonner turns, fades, fires, and leaves it way short. Great defense there by Hull. Copper tracks it down and bounces for Bonner, who had her shot blocks. And it's a shot clock violation. Bonner walled off by Hull, and then blocked at the rim. Indiana has that 5-point lead in third.
Then Alyssa Thomas, Bonner's fiancée, decided to make everything worse by taunting the fans. Thomas told Fever supporters that Bonner had joined a real team, which was basically the most disrespectful thing she could say. Remember, this is the same Alyssa Thomas who previously claimed she felt unsafe in Indianapolis because of racism from Fever fans. Now, she was antagonizing those same fans while her girlfriend got destroyed on the scoreboard.
Bonner booed in her return, which is to be expected considering the circumstances in which she left. And the players that have come in for the Fever are much better than Bonner was for them. Aari McDonald has been a revelation. She was great in this one again. And Chloe Bibby looks like a perfect fit. So all in all, Fever fans have to feel pretty damn good about that win.
The contrast between Thomas's behavior and the Fever's class was stunning. After the game, Aaliyah Boston and coach Stephanie White handled questions about the situation with complete professionalism. They focused on their team's performance instead of engaging in petty drama. Their responses showed exactly why the Fever culture is built on character and respect.
What was it like having DeWanna Bonner return to Indiana, and what were your thoughts on the fan reception tonight?
Honestly, that got nothing to do with me. I think DB returned because we were playing Phoenix, and so that happened to be that. The fans chose to do what they wanted to do, but for us, it's about paying attention to what we have to do here, and that was coming in and getting a big win, which we were able to do.
But the real satisfaction came from Bonner's pathetic performance. 4 points on 1 of 4 shooting in 21 minutes. 4 points. From someone who was supposed to be a veteran scorer. The same player who couldn't handle being benched in Indiana was getting completely shut down by her former teammates. The Fever dominated 107-101, proving that team chemistry beats individual ego every single time. This wasn't just a win on the scoreboard. This was perfect justice. Bonner got exposed while her former teammates thrived without her drama and negativity. The players who stayed committed to the vision were celebrating victories while the quitter was getting booed in the building she abandoned. DeWanna Bonner's betrayal turned out to be the best thing that could have happened to the Indiana Fever. The team discovered they were stronger without someone who didn't want to be there. New players like Aari McDonald and Chloe Bibby integrated seamlessly into a system built on commitment and respect. With Clark's return anticipated and the roster chemistry at an all-time high, the Fever are positioned to make serious noise in 2025. Drop a good riddance down in the comments below if you agree with Sophie about Bonner's distasteful exit. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.